So we're going to play you some songs from some blacklisted artists that were playing with blacklisted musicians and were generally in community with folks who were victims of the blacklist. And we'll tell some stories in there at times, and there will be some sing-alongs. General themes of overt anti-fascism, so I encourage you to participate in the singing. Help us out with that in these very relevant times. Let's just start with this one. Yeah, there you go. That worked. All right. 1, 2, 3. There once was a union maid who never was afraid of the goons and the ginks and the company finks and the deputy sheriffs that made the raid. She'd go to the union hall when a meeting it was called, and when the company goons came around, she always stood her ground. Ah, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. Ah, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union till the day I die. This union maid was wise to the tricks of the company spies. She'd never be fooled by a company stool. She'd always organize. She always got her way. When she struck for better pay, she'd show her card to the National Guard, and this is what she'd say. Ah, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. Ah, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union till the day I die. Ah, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union. Ah, you can't scare me, I'm sticking to the union. I'm sticking to the union till the day I die. Woody Guthrie was occasionally commissioned to write songs or albums, and one of those was this whole series of songs about the big grand Cooley Dam. They just wanted him to write a bunch of songs about a dam to get people hyped up, I guess about New Deal policy. But he was also approached to write an entire album about the case of Sacco and Vanzetti, two Italian anarchist immigrant workers in Boston who were both executed in the late 1920s. And their case was huge, right? There were humongous marches all across the world for Sacco and Vanzetti, I think in almost every continent. It was a very significant case of these two people being framed. And Woody wrote a bunch of songs about them, but this is one of them. It's called Two Good Men. We do it on C, right? Say there, did you hear the news? Sacco worked at trimming shoes. Vanzetti was a peddling man. He pushed his fish cart with his hands. Sacco sailed the sea one day and landed up in the Boston Bay. Vanzetti sailed the ocean blue and landed up in Boston too. Two good men a long time gone. Two good men a long time gone. Sacco and Vanzetti are gone. Left me here to sing this song. Sacco's wife 3 children had. Sacco was a family man. Vanzetti was a dreaming man. His book was always in his hand. Sacco earned his bread and butter, being the factory's best shoe cutter. Vanzetti spoke day and night. He told the workers how to fight. Two good men a long time gone. Two good men a long time gone. Sacco and Vanzetti are gone. Left me here to sing this song. Well, I'll tell you if you ask me about this payroll robbery. 2 clerks killed in the shoe factory on the streets of South Braintree. Judge Thayer told his friends around that he would cut the radicals down. Anarchist bastards was the name Judge Thayer called these 2 good men. 2 good men a long time gone. 2 good men a long time gone. Sacco and Vanzetti are gone. Left me here to sing this song. Vanzetti docked in 1908 and he slept along the dirty street. Told the workers organize, and on the electric chair he died. Well, all you people ought to be like me and work like Sacco and Vanzetti, and every day find a way to fight on the union side for workers' rights. Two good men a long time gone. Two good men a long time gone. Sacco and Vanzetti are gone. Left me here to sing this song. So, you know, there's the blacklist as we know it in sort of pop culture. So the 50s, right? People being, pushed out of the public light in the music industry, in Hollywood, in just public life. But before that and alongside that, there was also the blacklist as it existed on the work site. And that predated McCarthyism by many decades. And this next song is by somebody who, like almost probably everybody he knew and worked with, was blacklisted, most certainly. It's about that person by the name of Joe Hill. But the song is written by Phil Oakes, who is a 60s performer who may or may not have been blacklisted. One of the crazy things about blacklisting is that a lot of people didn't know if they were blacklisted or not. So me and Mark interviewed a woman named Barbara Dane, who is most likely a blacklisted musician, but she could never prove it. She just knows that she was really popular and all these huge blues artists wanted to work with her, but she couldn't get a record deal. And it was always very mysterious to her. And when you're in the record industry, who knows if that's because the one guy who controls that record company doesn't like you, or if it's personal, or if you've been blacklisted. So this song's about Joe Hill, and he was, as the story will tell you, also most likely falsely accused of a murder and executed. And Joe Hill was a member of the Industrial Workers of the World, IWW. I was reading a few books about him a few years ago, and one of the interesting things I learned that Joe Hill, like many of the members of the Industrial Workers of the World in that time period, like the entire basically Southern California membership of this huge union, all crossed over the Mexican border and went into Mexico and fought in the Mexican Revolution in the early 1900s. It was a very normal thing to do for these folks. And that was the life Joe Hill lived. And this is his story. 1, 2, 3. Joe Hill came over from Sweden's shore, looking for some work to do. And the Statue of Liberty waved him by as Joe came a-sailing through. Joe Hill, as Joe came a-sailing through. Oh, his clothes were coarse and his hopes were high as he headed for the promised land. And it took a few weeks on the out-of-work streets before he began to understand. Before he began to understand. Joe headed out to the California shore, but there things were just as bad. So he joined the Industrial Workers of the World, 'cause the union was the only friend he had. Oh, the union was the only friend he had. And he wrote his words to the tunes of the day, to be passed along the union vine. And the songs were spread and the strikes were led, and Joe Hill was always on the line. Yes, Joe Hill was always on the line. Then in Salt Lake City a murder was made. There was hardly a clue to find. All the proof was poor, but the sheriff was sure that Joe was the killer of the crime. That Joe was the killer of the crime. Now Utah justice can be had, but not for a union man. And Joe was warned by summer's early morn, and there'd be one less singer in the land. There'd be one less singer in the land. For 36 years he lived out his days, and he more than played his part. For the songs that he made, he was carefully paid, with a rifle bullet buried in his heart. With a rifle bullet buried in his heart. Yes, they lined Joe Hill up against the wall, a blindfold over his eyes. It's the life of a rebel that I chose to live. It's the death of a rebel that I'll die. It's the death of a rebel that I'll die.
Paul Robeson, who was a blacklisted artist and singer and actor, he sang that song. Well, he sang a different Joe Hill song. He sang I Dreamed I Saw Joe Hill Last Night.
It's wild. I got into folk music because Rancid has a song where they mention Billy Bragg, and then Billy Bragg sings that same song that Paul Robeson would sing about Joe Hill. But he sings a version about Phil Oakes. So then I got into Phil Oakes, who wrote that last song about Joe Hill. And then I was reading, I was a big, Howard Zinn was a huge influence on me when I had dropped out of high school. And Howard Zinn got into history because of a Woody Guthrie song. He was going to college on the GI Bill. He had been in World War II. And he heard a Woody Guthrie song called Ludlow Massacre about a lot of the miners that Joe Hill was probably interacting with in a strike back then in Colorado. And he was like, why was I never taught about this in school? So folk music, y'all, it's important, you know? Listen to your folk music. This song is by a folk musician as well, who may have been blacklisted, but did pretty well if he was. His name was Pete Seeger. And this is another very relevant song these days. Wait, do I start there? Yeah. We took some liberties at the end with a couple of lyrics. If you want higher wages, here's what you gotta do. You gotta talk to the workers in the shop with you. You gotta build your union, got to make it strong. If you all stick together, folks won't be long. You'll get shorter hours, better working conditions, vacations with pay, take your kids to the seashore. Y'all know about the seashore. It ain't quite that simple, so I better explain just why you gotta ride on the union train. Cause if you wait for the boss to raise your pay, we'll all be waiting around till Judgment Day. We'll all be buried, gone to heaven. St. Peter will be the straw boss then. Now you know you're underpaid, but the boss says you ain't. He speeds up the work till you're about to faint. You may be down and out, but you ain't beaten. You can pass out a leaflet and call a meeting, talk it over. Speak your mind, decide to do something about it. You got a union now and you're sitting pretty. Put some folks on the bargaining committee. Well, the boss won't listen if one of us squawks, but he's got to listen if the union talks. He better. It'd be mighty lonely if everybody decided to walk out on him. Suppose they're working you so hard it's just outrageous, and they're paying you all starvation wages. You go to the boss and the boss will yell, before I raise your pay I'll see y'all in hell. Well, he's smoking a cigar and feeling mighty slick, cause he thinks he's got your union licked. But
But he looks out the window and what does he see but 1,000 pickets, and they all agree he's a bastard. Well, now you've come to the hardest time. They'll try to bust your picket line. They'll call the police, the National Guard. They'll tell you it's a crime to have a union card. There's another line here I'm forgetting. Oh yeah. They'll raid your meeting, they'll hit you on the head, call every one of you a goddamn red unpatriotic. Moscow agents, bomb throwers, even the kids. Oh, but out at Amazon, here's what they found, and down at Starbucks, here's what they found, and at the museums, here's what they found, and down at Bethlehem, here's what they found. And if you don't let stool pigeons break you up, you don't let vigilantes break you up, you don't let red bait and Greek break you up, and you don't let race hatred break you up, you'll win. What I mean is, take it easy, but take it. This next song is a Woody Guthrie song as well, that he did with, I think first with the Almanac Singers, which Pete Seeger was part of. And, you know, the further we get from historical events, the easier it is to simplify them and sort of water them down. You know, the story of Rosa Parks becomes this story about a single person, and it leaves out the whole context that she was operating in. The story of, you know, a lot of, you know, great Harriet Tubman is another great example, right? We hear about Harriet Tubman, we don't hear about this huge infrastructure of the Underground Railroad and the thousands of people that were involved. And so we fail to understand, like, how big of a thing this was, how popular it was, you know, like how deep embedded in the culture it was. And this song is about a fairly large group of Americans who voluntarily went to Spain in the 1930s and fought in what was called the Spanish Civil War, when Franco, the fascist general, had tried to take over the country and eventually did. And it's a very tragic story because they lost, and it was at a time when some of the powers that would later emerge as being, you know, the great anti-fascist powers, like the United States of America, sat by and did nothing to intervene. And Hitler did not. Hitler supported Franco and helped Franco win the war. And so many American leftists, lots of communists, anarchists, socialists, they said, I will go to Spain and I will fight. And it wasn't symbolic. They were put into very, very heavy combat. And this song is called Jarama Valley. The Jarama Valley is a place just southeast of Madrid. And the people going into this battle knew that they were going to die. They knew that they were going to lose. And they went, and most of them died. They were called the Abraham Lincoln Brigade. And most of them were wiped out. And this is a song that Woody wrote in their memory. It's called Jarama Valley.
Let me add one thing. So here in Baltimore, there were definitely people who went over as part of the Abraham Lincoln Brigade to fight in Spain. And one of the things that came up during the Cold War and like blacklist era a little bit later on, especially during World War II and post-World War II, is one of the things that made you be a communist or suspected of being communist was to be prematurely anti-fascist, which meant being anti-fascist before the U.S. entered World War II. So lots of the people who went to fight Franco during this time were considered prematurely anti-fascist.
I gotta digest that for a minute. My God. The words you hear. Yeah, you start this one.
There's a valley in Spain called Jarama. It's a place that we all know so well. It was there that we fought against the fascists, and we saw a peaceful valley turn to hell. From this valley they say we are going to not hasten to bid us adieu. Even though we lost the battle at Jarama, we'll set this valley free before we're through. We were men of the Lincoln Battalion. We were proud of the fight that we made. And we know that the people of the valley will remember our Lincoln Brigade. From this valley they say we are going. Do not hasten to bid us adieu. Even though we lost the battle at Jarama, we'll set this valley free before we're through. You will never find peace with these fascists. You will never find friends such as we. So remember the valley at Jarama and the people that'll set this valley free. All this world is like a valley called Jarama, so green and so bright and so fair. No fascist can dwell in our valley, nor breathe in our new freedom's air. From this valley they say we are going. Do not hasten to bid us adieu. Even though we lost the battle at Jarama, we'll set this valley free before we're through.
There's another anti-fascist banger right here. Definitely sing along on this if you would, please. This is also a song by Woody Guthrie.
But also we know it through Billy Bragg.
If we found out that Woody Guthrie was just a name that a bunch of different people used when they wrote songs back then, I wouldn't be totally surprised. This song is called All You Fascists Are Bound to Lose. It's dedicated to the silhouette back there that keeps reminding me of, what's that guy's name again? Roger Stone is what that silhouette looks like. So I peer at it occasionally from here on the stage. I'm sorry for you folks at home who don't have the benefit of being able to see the silhouette of Roger Stone in the back of the room. But
do you know Roger Stone has a tattoo of Nixon on his back?
On his lower back.
Wow.
Too, I believe, right? Is it on his lower back or is it on his shoulder? It doesn't matter. If you have a tattoo of Richard Nixon on your back, it does not matter where it is. It's true. Thank you. We all learned something today. This song's called All You Fascists Are Bound to Lose. Please do sing along. 1, 2, 3. Well, I'm gonna tell you fascists, you might be surprised. People in this world are getting organized. You're bound to lose. You fascists are bound to lose. All you fascists are bound to lose. All you fascists are bound to lose. All you fascists are bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You fascists are bound to lose. Race hatred cannot stop us. This one thing I know. Your poll tax and Jim Crow and greed have got to go. You're bound to lose. You fascists are bound to lose. All you fascists are bound to lose. All you fascists are bound to lose. All you fascists are bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You fascists are bound to lose. People of every color marching side by side, marching through these fields where a million fascists died. You're bound to lose. You fascists are bound to lose. All you fascists are bound to lose. All you fascists are bound to lose. All you fascists are bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You fascists are bound to lose. All you fascists are bound to lose. All you fascists are bound to lose. All you fascists are bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You fascists are bound to lose. Now I'm going into this battle
Taking my union gun will end this world of racism. Before this battle's won, you're bound to lose. You fascists are bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose.
This song was written, the writer of this song wrote this song when she was 12 years old. And then she updated it later in her life. So her father was a miner in Harlan County, Kentucky. And when she got older, her husband was a union organizer for one of the mine workers' unions, I think the National Mine Workers Union. Her name is Florence Reese, and she wrote it when she was 12, and then she updated it. It's called "Which Side Are You On?" Also
This is another sing-along. Yeah, and this is our last one, so if you want to sing, this is the sing-along.
And she wrote this in the 1930s, right, during a heavy part of both the rise of the left in the U.S. and also the repression against it. Few places were as brutal back then as the coal mining regions, where there was a really heavy fight to unionize the mines and a lot of violence from the police, the military, and just vigilantes kind of put together by the companies. So Florence Reese wrote this in the context of a decade-long bloody conflict called Bloody Harlan, or I think they also call it like the Harlan Mine Wars, 1930s. All right.
Coming here to dwell. Which side are you on? 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 They say in Harlan County there are no neutrals there. You're either with the Union or a snitch for J.H. Blair. Which side are you on? 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 Oh, workers, can you stand it? Oh, tell me if you can. Will you be a lousy scab or will you lend a hand? Which side are you on? 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 My daddy was a miner, he's now in the air and sun. He'll be with you fellow workers till every battle's won. Which side are you on? 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 Don't scab for the bosses, don't listen to their lies. Us working folks ain't got a chance unless we organize. Which side are you on? 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 Which side are you on?
Thanks, y'all, and thank you everyone watching this online. That's our performance.
That's it. Thank you.